What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. I've got a new pair of Adidas to talk about. First and foremost though, I hope everybody's staying safe. I hope you're keeping your hands clean and you're just doing whatever you should be doing and listening to whoever you should be listening to. I don't really want to get into it. Everyone knows about it. It's getting beaten to death, and just wash your hands. That's it. So without further ado, let's dive into the Adidas Microbounce T1, and it's an interesting one. So like I said, let's dive in. So before we dive in, if you could do me a huge favor, if you're new to the channel, do hit that subscribe button, tap the little bell, get a notification anytime I put anything up on this channel. I'd really appreciate it. And if you do enjoy the video, at the end, hit the little thumbs up. That definitely helps the video gain some traction, and that's what we're trying to do. So like I said, we're talking about the Adidas Microbounce T1s today. A new silhouette from the brand with 3 stripes. Catching a lot of flack right now just because of everything that's going on in the world and the way that they've chosen to handle things internally. So again, not really my place to talk about it. I'd say some questionable decisions have been made at the corporate level, but I know that they are kind of following suit now with all the other brands and doing what they should. So we will leave it at that. Nonetheless though, they're still dropping sneakers. They're still giving us some fun things to talk about. And like I said, the Microbounce T1, we've got an all black box. You've got the Bounce logo up top, a little bit of a, I guess you can call it a smiley face made out of the O right there. Not really smiling, but a face nonetheless. And other than that, nothing really too exciting as far as the box goes. So we'll go ahead and put that aside and jump into the sneakers. So here you have them. I went with the more exciting colorway of the 2 that are available. I believe it's these alongside a canary yellow colorway. Might be a few others either on the way or have already dropped since I did snag these. I just haven't seen anything that's super exciting and really worth talking about. And these came along, and throughout the silhouette kind of reminds me of an Air Max 97 just because of how the leathers meet the mesh uppers and all of that, and the overall shape of the shoe looking down on it to me resembles a 97 for whatever reason. Probably not what they were going for, but as we dig into the shoe just a little bit, you'll probably get the same vibe as I point things out all throughout. So as usual, left and rights are exactly identical. We'll go ahead and put one aside and take a look at the left. So as we always do, we'll go ahead and start with the upper, and what we've got is pretty much an all mesh upper with suede hits throughout. All the mesh is essentially gonna be around the toe box, running up the laterals and medial sides of the shoe, as well as under the little patch back here is where the mesh finishes up. While we are back here though, you do have a hit of suede right here on the back portion, right beneath this nylon pull tab right here. Flipping back over to the top portion of the shoe, we have almost an identical pull tab on the top of the tongue. The entire tongue is going to be mesh aside from the suede hits up top. You do have a little Bounce logo or emblem right there on the top of the tongue. Making up the lacing system, we do have some more of the suede hits all the way around lateral and medial portions, as well as the top of the toe box area right there. As per usual, all that excess is just there to reinforce the lacing system, make sure that any tugging or pulling or tightening on those laces is not gonna rip them through the mesh material there. And obviously it just goes with the whole makeup of the shoe. And heading back down to the toe box before we get to the outer portion, we do have a bit of weather stripping, making up a mud guard right on the top of the toe box right here. Both lateral and medial sides of the shoe are gonna feature that Adidas 3-stripe branding. Essentially we have nylon underlays, leather overlays, and then double stitching on all 3 stripes. Back to the laces, we did get one single pair of cotton laces, flat black cotton laces. I kind of wish they would have given us like all 3 of the colors on these, what's making up the midsole. We'll head down there in a minute, but I think giving us all 3 of those lace options would have been just kind of cool to play around, since we do have essentially an all black upper. And before we pull that insole out, I am going to point out we do have nylon on the back of the tongue, as well as the whole inner portion of the shoe right here. Makes it extremely easy to get your foot in and out. It's a very, very large opening, regardless of how you lace the shoe up. Ton of room to get your foot in. When your foot's inside the shoe, a lot of room. We'll get into comfort in just a minute. Very, very roomy shoe though. All right, so whereas we're usually dealing with a fairly boring insole, this is going to be something a little bit more exciting and a little deeper as far as the breakdown goes. So we do have bounce technology on the insole, which is essentially gonna be the cushioning system that you would normally find in the midsole of the shoe. A little bit thinner down here towards the forefoot of the insole. However, still a bit thicker than that we would see on an Ultra Boost or really any other Adidas, aside from like the Cloud Foams. Those are really thick, but just a lot thicker than your normal insole, run-of-the-mill insole, I guess. Now flipping over, before we go back here, you can see the Bounce and the Adidas co-branding on the underneath your heel area. And then all the way up the insole, it is gonna thicken up right around the arch area. And then you get really thick, almost about a ½ inch in thickness and cushioning around the heel portion of the shoe. And then you can see it does come all the way up, really high up on the heel portion of the shoe, the back heel portion of the shoe. Flip it over, we've got a little bit of almost traction on the bottom of the midsole, Bounce branding on the arch area. Basically, this is going to be all the cushioning that you're getting from the sneaker. I'll break down as to why that is, but just know that this is basically what you would have as far as, like I said, your midsole and all the cushioning that you would typically have in a sneaker is going to be completely in the insole in this shoe. So heading back to the shoe, you can see all the way through the sneaker right here. You see my finger come all the way through. There are 2 holes on the bottom that you can see directly through right there. There's another one right there, heading down towards the forefoot, and you've got a full plastic liner in here. Very hard, all plastic, just makes up that whole portion. Now heading down into the forefoot, there is a little bit of padding, but not anything cushion wise. It's just just a overlay on the interior portion of the shoe. Now heading back to the outside of the shoe, you will see that plastic makes up that whole, there's almost like a cup right there on the back portion of the shoe, and that's the plastic that we're seeing inside, and that's kind of how the shoe finishes off on the back portion of the sneaker. Now before we go any further, I will point out all the leather that wraps all the way around the shoe, and that's kind of where I got the Air Max 97 vibes from. There's multiple layers of the patent leather. You've got multiple layers in almost that ivory reflective white color that wrap the entire shoe. And then on the toe box, they finish it off with another little strip of patent leather in a greenish metallic finish. So hopefully you can see where I'm getting those 97 vibes from. I just think it's very similar. So we'll toss that insole back in and head down to what would be the midsole portion of the shoe, which is gonna be all these little individual units that make up the cushioning system. I don't really have a specific name for them, and if there is, I apologize, but I'm just gonna call them cushioning units for lack of better terms, I guess. We've got 4 green ones, 2 blue ones, and 3 pink ones on the very back of the sneaker. They do have a little piece in the middle of each of them, and they are very flexible, definitely some sort of rubber compound, and not a whole lot of cushion, but definitely a little bit of bounce. You can push up on them, and you can see they do have a little bit of give and a little responsiveness. But like I said, the majority of the cushioning is going to be from that insole that I pulled out of the shoe. And then we're going to finish off with the outsole, and you do have a full rubber outsole, and it does say semi-blown rubber right here. Hopefully the camera can pick that up. And then just a ton of traction all the way throughout. You also have a piece of plastic that's running almost the full length of the shoe between the cushioning units and the rubber outsole, and you can kind of see that right there with the little Bounce logo right there that kind of bridges across the heel portion right there. Overall, a pretty hard sneaker to break down. Definitely very intricate in its makeup. I think it's a cool sneaker. I think if you're into just a lot of the stuff that came out in the late 90s, this definitely has that vibe for me, with a very futuristic look as well. As far as pricing goes, these came in at 160 bucks. Not too shabby for a brand new silhouette. I think it'll not necessarily catch on for a lot of people, but I think there's definitely gonna be an audience that vibes with them for sure. As far as comfort goes, they're decent, maybe like a 6.5, 7 out of 10. Definitely can walk around in them because of how thick that insole is. There's just a lot of room, you know. Whether you lace them up tight or walk with them loose like I do, there's a lot of movement, you know, and that was going true to size. I'm not saying go down, and I'll get into that in just a minute, but there was a lot of room all throughout the shoe. It's definitely a bigger, bulkier sneaker in my opinion. And again, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's not comfortable. It's just not gonna be up there with Boost and all the other competing cushioning technologies on the market right now. Like I said, as far as sizing goes, I did go true to size. As far as length goes, definitely can't beat it. True to size is my suggestion. I wouldn't go down or up. Up is gonna be way too big, and down you're gonna have some issues down here in the toe box. As far as width goes, I already mentioned a million times, there's a lot of room, a lot of wiggle room left to right. And it just is what it is. So if you've got a bigger foot, thicker foot, fatter foot, however you wanna put it, definitely gonna fit just right for you guys. I will leave it at that. I will throw these on feet and give you guys a better look at them aesthetically. I appreciate all of you for tuning in, and that's gonna do it for the Adidas Microbounce T1, an interesting sneaker to say the least. Again, if you haven't already, hit that thumbs up. Like I mentioned, it helps the video tremendously. And if you are brand new to the channel and you enjoyed it, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, tap the little bell, get a notification anytime I do anything on this channel. Guys, I appreciate you. And like I said, stay safe, wash your hands. I'll catch y'all next time. Peace.